Hello, everyone. It's great to be here. Oh, it's a lovely bit of a reverb going on there. That's very, very good. It's lovely to be here. Thank you, Frederic, for having us. I'm Peter Luchins from Auto in General, but you probably know us better as Budget Direct. I'm sure you've seen our ads. I'm here with my colleague John Kent today, and we're here today to talk about the Tableau REST API, automating Tableau communication. So when you see that heading, you might be thinking, that's not really what I come to Tableau user groups for. I want to see some cool dashboards and shit. Well, unfortunately for you all, this presentation is probably not like ones you've seen at previous Tableau user groups if you've been to one before. And unfortunately, we're not going to show you too many cool dashboards. But we are going to show you something that has driven incredible value to our business, like, you know, via Tableau. And Auto in general, if I'm going to be frank, is, you know, generally not very keen about people coming and doing presentations about stuff at public events. But I don't think we're giving away too much here. I think it's something very, very worthwhile, worth sharing. Is there anyone from insurance here? No? Good. Well, that's okay then. Oh, well, that's okay. Okay, one person. That's all right. That's all right. That's right. When I was pondering an intro to this, there was one thing I wanted to mention, and this presentation is really about the old world meeting the new, right? Like, this presentation is going to be about how we, you know, there are people in businesses who like things being done a certain way. And, you know, Tableau is an incredible tool that can do things in a very futuristic way. But sometimes we just need to shoehorn the futuristic into the old school. And that's basically what this is about. This is about a business challenge that we had, which took a lot of time and resources, doing something in a very old school way. And we managed to get Tableau to do it in a more modern way, and saved everyone a whole lot of time and saved the business a lot of money. So without further ado, we'll get into how we did that. So John and I are here today from Auto in General, Budget Direct Insurance. We are a global business, but you know, the Australian business pretty much stands alone by itself. When you see Budget Directs on tally or on buses, that all happens from our office here in Toowong. We're a completely we're a very in-house business. Everything's done in-house except for the production of our TV ads. So all our media planning and buying, and our in-house content agency, and our analytics, and everything's done in-house at Auto in General, and we're very proud of that. So we've been in Australia since 2000, 23 years. We've got 3,000 employees now, so that's obviously our corporate people in Toowong, but also two very big call centres at North Lakes and Kawana, and also some in Johannesburg these days. And we are a very, very proud challenger brand. We love taking policies off the big. Which insurance company are you from? we love taking policies off the big players. We are all about taking market share off the duopoly of the Australian of the duopoly. So what was that? Was that Suncorp? So yeah, and we now have 2.3 million policy holders, nothing to be sniffed at, and growing ever more rapidly. We're a counter-cyclical brand. You know, as times get a little bit tougher as they are now, what do people think of? Budget Direct. Good time to buy an insurance policy with Budget Direct, everyone. Okay, let's go on, John. Okay, so as far as Tableau goes, we've been on and off Tableau users for, well, since I've been there, 10 years. I've been at Auto in General for 10 years now, managing a digital analytics team. So at the moment, we have a pretty light footprint. I mean, some of you here probably use Tableau a lot more than this, even in much smaller businesses. The Tableau usage is pretty much restricted just to the marketing team, and, you know, 6 of us within the marketing team. You can probably guess what the rest of the business uses without me having to name it. But we are proud Tableau users within marketing, and we've driven a lot of value from it. But we really only scratched the surface, really. So we've got 6 Tableau Prep and Creative Power users within marketing only. We've got 100 viewer licenses, and maybe about half of them really regularly use it. So again, not a huge amount of people logging in every day to actually look at the reports, but enough. Really importantly, we administer our own Tableau server. So, I mean, when we made the case to get Tableau into marketing, we were allowed to stand up the server on our own virtual machine. John administers it, and that makes our life very easy in terms of not having to go through IT or anyone to upgrade it or do anything we need to it. That's changing soon. We're moving to Tableau Cloud soon, so we won't even have to do this. But for the time being, we manage our own Tableau server on our own VM. One more thing, John, before I move on. We do have the Tableau data management add-on for Tableau server. So if any of you are familiar with that, that's an important note to make, because everything you're about to see is not possible without a data management add-on. Like, or the REST API comes with the data management add-on, right? Okay, so John. All right. Allow me to introduce you to an email. A very, very old school and boring email, right? Now, this is an email that has a very specific subject. It's a very important part of the conversation we're about to have. Some CEOs, some executives like things to be in a certain exact manner. They won't take anything less. They don't want it to just say daily sales report. They want it to say MMA, that's marketing, media, and acquisition, by the way. Marketing, media, up to and including 35th October. They then want it to include this exact bit of text at the top with a link, and then they want it to include a very specific content in the email. Very old school, right? It goes on for much longer than this, by the way. Just for the purposes of getting this into the presentation, we did this, but there is in fact another 6 or 7 images similar to this with charts, etc., showing up daily performance and month-to-date performance and how we're going to plan and everything like that below, all in a very specific laid out manner, which our executives are very used to seeing and wanted to continue seeing in exactly that manner. Now, onto the challenge, John. The challenge was that we have a daily sales performance email with a very certain format, and that's taken many different forms in the past. But with the advent of Tableau, we did actually start, there was a dashboard built, published to the server, and then the report lived on the server and could be refreshed every day. But the subscription feature within Tableau, the native out-of-the-box subscription feature, was just not powerful enough to meet the needs of what you just saw, that exact email you saw, right? Like simply subscribing everyone to an email wasn't going to cut it. We couldn't modify the next one, John. We couldn't modify the email subject, and we couldn't put the images in exactly the way that we wanted them to look. And next one, John. We couldn't guarantee that we could send it when the data was ready to go, right? Like we can't just set a refresh schedule for 8 a.m. or even 9 a.m. because some days stuff goes wrong with the data, comes from the back-end system, and if we were to just schedule a subscription for 9 in the morning, knock yourself out, Frederic. If we were to just schedule a refresh for 9 o'clock in the morning, you know, maybe once a month, the email would just be sent blank, right? Because the data wasn't there ready to go. So it wasn't going to work. So basically, you know, the subscription, the out-of-the-box features of Server in terms of, you know, refreshes and scheduling, etc., are great. They're very, very powerful, but they just didn't cut it for what we needed, which was to send a very important daily sales performance email to our very senior executives in a very certain format every day.
It comes to the site on the Zoom.
Yeah, you're right. Take your time. While we're waiting, can anyone sympathise with the challenge we're facing here? Yes. Okay. Good. 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 I can't remember if I noted in this slide. I'm going to say it now, but you can kind of see where where this challenge is going. In that, even though we could build a really lovely dashboard in Tableau, there were people manually copying and pasting it into an email every day. Like in order to send this email daily. In this wonderful insurance business that generally is pretty good at doing things smarter, not harder, there was someone who literally went into the Tableau server every day, made sure the data was refreshed, and then we would copy the images out of the Tableau server, paste them in the email, make the subject exactly as it should be. Chris knows all about this. Chris was here during the time period when we went from manualization to automation. And so when we cracked this code, when we cracked this challenge, which John's going to take us through, you know, it made everyone's life much happier, and we could actually start sending emails automatically. And as an additional bonus, we got emails on the weekend, right? Which would never used to happen on before because no one was going to send it on a weekend. But when we cracked the automation code, the email came through automatically every single day, including weekends. I've kind of just given away the prize now, haven't I? But John, next, John.
Button not working.
Right. Try again, Frederic.
Uh-oh.
Hang on. There we go. Okay, good. Okay, so there's one final note there, which I've already talked before. So the remainder of this presentation is not going to be the usual display, I'm sorry to you guys to say, of pretty dashboards, but it is going to be some interesting information around how John managed to crack this code, and we managed to automate an old school method of communication, which is email, which, frankly, is not what Tableau is built to do. Tableau is built as an interactive, futuristic way to log in and do interactive things. But we did manage to get it to do a very old school thing very effectively for us, which saved us a lot of time and money. So on that note, I'll hand it over to John to talk about how the Tableau Server REST API can help you too.
Thank you, Pete. Hello, everyone. Yeah, I need someone to cover that. Cool. So I'm John Kent. I'm a senior digital analytics developer in Pete's team in MMA. I wish we did some martial arts. Oh. Yep. So I've been doing 7 years of development professionally. I graduated from UQ doing a Bachelor of IT, majoring in software design. I've developed over 500 tests, so A/B tests on the website. That's how I kind of got into analytics, because A/B testing does require a lot of data and a lot of analytical knowledge. A problem solver to the core. I did hackathon a lot over at GovHack. So I competed for GovHack. I've gotten runners up twice and won People's Choice Award. And a recent father, hiker, gamer, and considered a wise wizard amongst the data citizens. So what I'll be covering is what is a DAD. So I'll get to that. other than being tired. Tools required for using the Tableau REST API. What is the REST API? What can you do with it? What is the Tableau Server Client Python library? If you guys are familiar with Python. The challenge, so just addressing the challenge and how race conditions play into that. I'll go through our solution, questions, and I have a little Christmas gift with some surprise. So what is a DAD? And I just, other than tired, there's kind of this trifecta of data, analytics, and development. And, whoa. We're kind of the jack of all trades, combining, API development, data development, which data development is the one that plays mostly into this. Web analytics tracking, so setting up GTM tags and setting up tracking to actually get it into Tableau, and A/B testing and personalization. And yes, that's an actual picture of a dad caring for his data sets. That is actually my 5 years working at A&G, and that's actually a KFC bag. So tools related to this presentation. We've got Tableau there on the left that utilizes the Tableau REST API. And then we've got Python on the right that uses the Tableau Server client that you have to get installed into Python. And then that's how you can actually communicate with the Tableau REST API. Both of them are connected to our data source, which our data source is BigQuery, but you can use whatever connector you want. The reason why we connect to the BigQuery on the Python side is to check for freshness, to check that it's actually, the data is actually ready. I've got a couple of links here if the slide's going to be shared to some documentation. And there's some sample projects for hands-on learning if you guys are into that. So what is the REST API? You can read that in your own time, the formal description. But the TLDR is just, it's a way you can communicate programmatically to a web server via HTTP. So you're actually like calling a URL that runs script on the server to do something like refresh a workbook or download an image or send an email. Yeah. So what can it do? I kind of just covered that, but what the Tableau REST API can do is manage and update resources for the Tableau server, the cloud site, if you have a cloud site, prep conductor, so it can run incremental refreshes or full refreshes. And in regards to this presentation, it can refresh data sources for you, refresh flows, access workbooks, download views, refresh views. We did run into an issue where we actually needed to cache bust the view, which I can share that. Because every time we downloaded the view, the previous run, the previous refresh, and it would take like 5 hours for the actual view to update. So yeah, you can cache bust. But there's other methodologies in that link as well. So what is the Tableau Server Client? It's an open source Python library created by Tableau that communicates with the server REST API. Unless you're a developer, I would skip the reading the REST API documentation and just skip straight to the Tableau Server Client stuff because it's way easier. You don't have to download Postman and deal with all that stuff. Trust me. But I got some. Is anyone here familiar with Python? Cool, awesome. This shouldn't be too new. We've got. You can use your username and password. You can also create tokens, and you put your server address in, and you can download. You can access the views and download the images from the views that you want. Yeah. So race conditions. So there's also the formal description there on the left, but the too long didn't read it version is essentially if one of your dependencies in your system is happening too early or too late, which can result in data missing. So an example here is the data refresh is too late, which happens frequently. So what happens if the data refresh is late? If we were using the traditional Tableau version, we would set up a schedule, we would refresh at 8:30 in the morning, and the data doesn't actually come in until like 10 o'clock. Your data refreshes, the subscriptions go out, and you actually don't have the newest data, you have yesterday's data. And the subscriptions, the emails that go out with all the Tableau views and stuff, they're going out with the wrong data. So the fix for that would be manual intervention. So you would go into the view, download the images, and then apologize to your stakeholders that you don't have the data up to date. Yeah, so the solution, you can solve the race conditions by treating your dependencies like they occur asynchronously. So if you don't trust your BI team, like, and you don't believe that they're going to have the data in the morning, so this involves writing a script to check that everything is ready before proceeding to the next step, which you can use Python for. So this is something. Sorry? Yeah. Yeah, this is a live dashboard in Tableau, and these are all the steps that my program goes through, and these are all. It's a Gantt chart, and you can see the colors correlate to the actual events that are happening. So the green one is that the data is actually refreshed and we're ready to extract it. It takes 4 minutes for the actual extract to be successful, and then we're waiting for the refresh on the actual Tableau server here, and then the refresh is done, and then we build the email and we send it. So in between 8:21 and 8:29, it's just automated. And if this green step doesn't actually happen, all the other steps don't happen. So it's constantly polling to see if if our data warehouse is refreshed or not. Yeah. To go into a bit more depth with this spaghetti, so we built a system that can deal with race conditions, ensure that dependencies occur in the correct sequence. So this first step, just to make sure if it's run today, we don't want to go through all the checks to checking BigQuery and Tableau to see if the actual thing happened today. So it's a bit more efficient. We make sure that today's data is available, refresh extracts, wait for the refresh to be complete, make sure the email hasn't been sent, and we download the email. So 3 of those steps actually involve the REST API. So the third step here actually communicates with Tableau and sends the run call for Tableau prep. And then we constantly polling it to check if it's done or not. Once it's
Oh, I think she's died here, Frederic. All right.
Can we pay to recharge?
All right.
Screamer.
Pulse again.
This is a framework we've used to automate other things. So this
Brand new.
the Python
Underwater.
code that's running this is actually over 3,000 lines of code. Like you could write just this single thing maybe in like 200 lines of code, but we built it in such a way we have like maybe 10 I think it's like, yeah, it's about 10 processes we have running on this Python framework script I made.
Cool.
So hopefully you've learned what tools are required for using the API. You've got Python. You need the data management add-on.
Yeah.
And yeah. So what is a REST API? What is a Tableau Server Client Python library? And some use cases, and what a race condition is and how to solve it.
Wait 1 second and see if it's going.
First time we've used this speak. Sorry.
It was working beautifully until then. It was good. It sounded great. No.
Yeah, it might just need a minute.
All right. Cool.
So here's the Christmas gift I was talking about before. So it's actually a Python notebook link with, you can put in your workbook name, you can put in the view name, and you can you put in your username, password, and your server, and it will actually download an image for you. So, no way, you can load it and use it. Yes, it's a good starting point.
Good. I think I'll do yes. Yeah.
Thank you for listening. If you have any questions,
Use a microphone.
yeah. So the VM that the Tableau server is running in. Is it frequency?
Is it on again then?
I don't know it's on. Sorry.
Doing our lights? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so we have a virtual machine that's blocked behind our behind firewall, so we have to be part of our VPN to actually access it. But in the future, when we move to the cloud, we'll most likely be on some hosting service, cloud hosting service, perhaps a cloud. Or, yes, yeah, that's how it can.
Yeah, the same box as the server. Yeah.
Not a very technical question, but like, how was it received by the business then? To solve this problem? Did they?
Well,
I'm assuming they noticed.
We had a party in our team.
Yeah.
And everyone else was just like,
Yeah. Well, if you do your job, right,
Yeah,
people
yeah.
don't recognize it, right? It would just be like, oh, some human out there is doing it for me every day. Yeah.
No, now I mean the whole weekend thing was big. Obviously, people noticed and they started getting reports on the weekends.
Yeah.
And on the occasion when this process falls over, not because of us, but because of data issues, then people definitely start to notice that the automation is gone. So you don't know what you got till it's gone, right?
Yeah.
So no, I was more. I mean, that was secondary to me. The important thing to me was freeing up my analyst time in doing these ridiculous manual processes every single day in 2021 or whenever it was we got to screw up. And moving into the 21st century and working smarter, not harder. That's what it was all about, yeah.
Awesome.
Hope you all enjoyed that.
Any more questions?
Thank you.
Good. Look, apologies for the speaker. It's a small, big gift. It's not an auditorium or anything. Oh, good man. We know. So much. What's your customer job? Oh, yeah. Well, it's the large.
Or extra large. That's good. Large is good.
Yeah. Hey, Andy, did you want to say anything about what, sorry?
A job.
Sure. If you like.
Are you recording?
Yes, not me, well, personally, but kind of. So, in the LinkedIn page for the user group, you would have seen maybe this week if you're kind of a member there. So we're looking for a 12-month secondment for a data viz analyst within our team. So I work at Woolworths with Sarah and Sam over there. So there's a few of us here. We're in the people data team. And yeah, as I say, if you want to know more, then kind of come and speak to me. Reach out on LinkedIn or something. And the advert went live last week, and we are trying to get it wrapped up as much as we can before Christmas. So don't hang around if you are keen. But yeah, so speak to me tonight or kind of reach out on LinkedIn. So,
For those considering a shift to Tableau Cloud, these guys have just been through that as well. You'll find there's a lot of people that have just
in
been
progress.
through that.
In progress.
So
You're in progress.
just networking, talk about what the challenges were.
No challenges there. That's smooth.
The
Okay.
other one, just before we kick back in, key data will be, we're not hiring anyone this side of Christmas, but we will be in January. So that's another one to keep in mind as well.
So next,
Sorry, I tried. I did try.
I'll try again. Get ready? As you can see, the tech is not always perfect. We get the next time. Maybe mid-Jan when you come back, we'll have the tech all sorted. Talking about the cloud, so in my intro, I told you I work for Woolies as well. In a different team, different business unit, I work for BW. We moved to the cloud early October, and then we were lucky to be asked to try Pulse, Tableau Pulse. So there's an initial beta. I think there are a few clients in the world that have been able to try Tableau Pulse. We're one of them. And I think Sam and Andy are only starting up. So we've had a couple of months of experience with Pulse, and I thought I'd share some things about Pulse. I don't know if you heard about Pulse or Matrix, Tableau Matrix. It's a pretty cool piece of tech. It's limited. It's version 1, or version 0.1. But I thought I'd share a few bits and pieces just in case you come across Pulse or if you want to use it for your orgs. I think it's a pretty good software. I don't know if you see the demos from Tableau. They always have that forward-looking statement, which is pretty rubbish. I thought I'd just put Gen AI and get Gen AI to generate a photo or picture of what it means. So that's that thing on the right-hand side. I don't know what it means. It's like people in love. There's a guy with a beard or mask. But I think it's a bit better than writing all that content. So what I'm going to share is don't purchase Tableau because you saw the demo, because I'm not a Tableau person. I don't do shares or that kind of stuff. Just keep that in mind. I'm only a customer user of Tableau and Pulse. In short, and then Andy and Sam, you can jump as well because you use as well Pulse. Pulse is basically going to be a complement of current dashboards. As I understand, it will be a central place where you can develop, share metrics that your business user can use and consume. It's meant to be contextual and smart, using Gen AI, so machine learning type of stuff. So you see when I do a demo, the demo works. Pulse works with Gen AI and can do summaries and interact with the data set. I think it's pretty cool. It's not there yet, but I think it's quite promising. And people can also interact. So you might be familiar with the concept of KPIs or band big numbers on the dashboard. Pulse is basically a big number with a lot of growth or that kind of stuff. I think it's quite interesting. So I'm going to jump into the demo. Hopefully it's not going to cause any issues. Andy and Sam, feel free to jump in as well while I'm setting up the demo. Well, stop sharing. So the way Pulse works, where is it stuck at the sides? Sorry. No. Stop sharing. Share screen. Hope it's going to work. What's going on with the full screen.
Somewhere on.
Can I drag
right
it?
on this.
Here we go.
Drag it.
Oh my god, it's so good. So that's the Pulse front page. So if I was to go to a Tableau server, the way it works is you basically need to share a Tableau data source into the Pulse server, in your cloud server. So obviously you need to be in the cloud first. As a developer, there's a couple of things. I wonder if I can quickly show you. One of the good, useful features of Pulse is you get a daily email. So when you subscribe to a Pulse or to a metric, every day or every week, you receive a digest. So just imagine you're a busy manager or director. You subscribe to a Pulse, you probably don't need to want to go on the Pulse front page or website. You can get the email straight away in your inbox every day or every week, it depends. You can specify that. Those are the ones I've subscribed to. So those are only examples based on Superstore data. So they're not real data from BigW, don't worry. But this one, for example, is a profit ratio. That's a chart that's updated on the fly. Because I use Superstore, the data is static as well. So it's not quite the right data set for that kind of demo. Normally it's better for data updates every day. That's the real value of having that kind of software system. But just pretend that the data updates every day. So you'll get an updated version of my Pulse every day because the data is refreshed every day. So this one is one, profit ratio is one, that's another one. Slightly different, I've got different levels of, the period is different. This one is last week, this one is month to date. And that's where the GenAI, the machine learning comes in, where all that summary is generated by the system, by the GenAI, by the Tableau AI. Is it called Tableau GPT? Tableau GPT, I think it's called. Yeah. And so on, and you can click if you want to find more. So as a busy manager, you can every morning consume your pulses if you're interested and click on the link and to get more information. So those are other data. That's return, this one is sales, APAC. We all know the Superstore data. So if I go on the website where my pulse lives, so as a user, I'm a business user, I get my pulses are showing up in there. That's my front page. I've got access to all the metrics, all the pulses that people have created in my organization. So not only mine, but others as well. So you can browse what others are doing if you're interested and subscribe to them as well. If I want to interrogate the existing one, that's basically the front page, similar to the one you saw in the email. You can click on it. You get a detailed view of the pulse. Okay. There's even questions that helps you interrogate further. So the GenAI basically looks for the data. I don't know where it does it, but click on it and the data is refreshed on the fly. In version 2 or some new versions, you'll be able to ask questions yourself. So if you trade with Ask Data, you what it's called? Ask Data. Your version of data, you were able to ask questions, plain English questions. It wasn't that great, but that'd be one feature of Pulse. You'll be able to interrogate the question yourself by just asking plain English questions. As you can see, the data updates, the chart updates as well. There's some insight given to you. As a user, as a Pulse user and user, you can adjust and change some of the filterings. So on that data set, I've got different segments, consumer segments. So I can just only show consumer, doing like a basic Tableau filter if you want. I can only decide to show Australia. City, I leave it there and click OK. The Pulse will refresh, update the data. I've just basically applied the filter. And now I can follow. So when I do that, when I create a filter, I'm basically creating a new Pulse, which I need to follow so it shows up on my front page. So if I go back to the front page, the one I've created is there, and now that'll be ready for me to consume every day. And I can also share it to someone in the organization. So I could share with Sam, for example, because Sam is now. Thanks, Sam. Bang. So now I've just shared one pulse with Sam. Sam will get an email, as she said, with the pulse I've just subscribed. She can also look for pulse herself, but I think that's a nice way to share content. And you can see the GenAI summary updates, I think every day or every few hours, I can't remember. Do you know? Yeah. Whoops. So as an end user, you can consume a pulse, just browse, click on it, as I just did. You can adjust. You can look at the breakdown. See, those are the filters I've selected, country, region. The interface is quite snappy. I think it works quite well. It's pretty fast. What you can also do as a developer, so if you got a Tableau Creator license, you can create what's called a metric definition. So the West, when you build those pulses for your business users. So when you click on that, pretend I've uploaded, I've shared a data source on my server, in my cloud server. It could be like a live data set, or this one is a live data set, so I won't use it, but those are Superstore, so that's an Excel file that's sitting in my Pulse server, in my cloud server, as a shared data set I can use. I can connect to it. I just want to enter definition. So I'm basically building a pulse. Good documentation, you just should, this pulse is about, Sam was asking the developers if you could search. I think you love searching, developers love searching. So I think if you put definition descriptions, it helps when you're able to search. Currently, you can't search, I think. You know what it said? Yeah. The next step is to select a measure. So for example, I have sales. That's in my data set. So that data set has sales and returns, I think. You select the level of aggregation. Pretty simple. Same with this one, running total or cumulative, non-cumulative. Time dimension. Obviously, that's a good date. So one of the big issue with Pulse currently for us is it doesn't work on fiscal calendars. So it's a big no-no for us because we use fiscal calendar. You probably use fiscal calendar as well, fiscal payers, fiscal weeks. There's a version shipped, I think, in February. Fiscal calendars will be on and you'll be able to change. So at this stage, we can only use calendars. It's good for the demo, but it doesn't actually work for us currently. But something to keep in mind. Fiscal is not there yet, but it will be shipped in the new version. So you can see it created a very simple pulse, 32 Ks of cells. You can change the formatting of the numbers as well, top dollars. You can also include filters. So for example, I just want to include the segment filters, any dimensions, categories, that's in the data set, subcategory. See that just show up in there. So now I'm starting to build a pulse, save definition. I might have created already one called segment. Version 2. It's an amazing name. I've already created one. So I think that's the whole point of Pulse is they're meant to be shared metrics. So if someone's created a Pulse on the system, I'm not meant to create one because it's already there. So there's no need to have 50 of the same pulses. So I probably should run an example. I forgot I created one already. But I've already used one using cells and then segments, so there's no need for me to create a second one. So the system is basically warning me that someone's already created a pulse using the same definition, so there's no need to create one. But if I was to take this one to show you, in there, I can edit the definition. So this one is one I've done before. Let's see a concept. I've got cells. That's why I'm using cells. The same cell. You got cells already. So what are you doing? Running total. I've got the order date. I was using the same dimension to measure. So system tells me no, you duplicate any content. There's no need. And I've got some filters. Formatted numbers. I forgot to have currency in there. And save. And when you save the definition, all the metrics are used actually using the same definition. I'm already following it. So if I go back to my front page, all my Pulse should be showing up in there. It's a very basic demo. I don't know if you have questions.
I just wanted to make a point for that. I think where this becomes really useful. So you'll notice around the blue lines there's kind of a blue shaded area, which is like the usual expected numbers. But where this becomes really powerful is not just the ones that you're following, but actually it kind of does some work to say, is this number expected? And if it goes outside of that blue range, it'll kind of turn red. And then there will be another bit next to the following of the browse metrics that kind of is like the things you need to look at type stuff. And that's kind of becomes really powerful because then your eyes are drawn to essentially, the managers don't want to waste their time, the execs don't want to waste their time looking at stuff that's normal. But looking at the stuff that is new is really powerful.
Such a 5 period. Can you use that like last week or?
Yeah. So if I go to this one, week to date, and adjust. So those are the comparison periods that you can use, and you can compare to previous year or previous period. So it's quite flexible. As I said, for us, it doesn't work because our weeks are not lining up. Let's pretend that we can plug fiscal calendars, fiscal weeks. That'd be perfect. So we talk the same weeks. So you can, as a user, you can just basically choose the level of detail and the comparison period. And if I was to choose this one and click OK, I'm actually making a new pulse. So that's generating a new pulse, which I then need to follow again. So I think if I change that to previous year, okay, you will see that the numbers will change because I'm comparing previous year, and then I need to follow, and that becomes a new pulse. So it's quite flexible. The Tableau people have been telling us, it's not ready, it's not even version 1. I think they're a bit conservative, but I think it's pretty good for a beta product. So it's likely to be maybe next week. Tableau is probably likely to announce things about Pulse. So I don't know anything about licensing, how much it costs. Everything needs to be in the cloud to be able to use. When you in the cloud, I believe it just turns up, and your side admin probably needs to turn it on or off. But I don't know if you want to add more some energy about the mechanic of Pulse, but I think it's pretty good as a version 1 kind of platform.
I think like everything, it's getting the data set underneath it in a form that this is going to make sense.
Yeah.
Because when I'm kind of playing like the explained data, you kind of talk about it's going to be similar here as well. Is that the conclusions it draws are not going to make sense unless the data is in the right format for it to work. And that's kind of key. 89% is going to be getting your data to work.
How does the answer apply in context to measurements? So I remember what that's going to do is essentially going to look at any given measurement and essentially giving the text. This is going to find reverse thresholds.
I didn't quite hear the question. You don't answer the question. Did you hear the question?
No,
It's not something I've looked at.
it's not going to go.
You can do it.
You're talking about context.
Yeah.
I'm not sure you can. Can you do context?
Yeah. I think you can. Well, I've seen that people talk about you will be able to.
You can do it. I've seen it like but I haven't actually done it.
So when you're kind of defining the metrics, you basically kind of say, okay, for this metric, like profit ratio, for example, is going good or is going down.
Yeah. I think it's actually play with that. I think this one. It is in. So this one is a profit ratio. I think it's called insight. in there. So the value is either going up neutral. Well, so that's nice. So that's how you define the context. I knew it was there. I never actually played with it.
I presume so. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, I think so. You might even be able to. Not now. You might be able to kind of define how wide it is. But as I say, that's the real value, right? That drawing people's attention to what they need to look at. It's not normal. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So who's in the cloud? Who's using you in the cloud? Or you in the cloud? Yeah. So I suspect people in the cloud might be tapped on the shoulder by the Tableau reps to track parts before they ship it. I suspect they're talking about maybe a beta or a try before you buy. I mean, I don't want to share licensing, but I don't believe we'll have to pay extra for us. Maybe the
expectation is that as going forward, we see less of these features being sacrificed to myself, that everything will be going to Tableau Cloud. So you can expect as you go forward with incremental releases, you're going to see less of the like stuff.
yeah. See that search wasn't there yesterday. I think they basically, and I think some mentioned something about search.
all you
is
got.
saying,
My understanding was this would be all print at all.
no, just start on. Start on.
I was just on the pricing. Yeah, I was lucky enough to get a demo a couple of weeks ago, and I asked very specific questions around pricing because I heard some mixed messages around, whether it would cost more or not. But no, there will be a version that has no extra cost.
Yeah. And I suspect the summary bit there, which is the general, might be the one that people might need to pay for if it's consuming some processing power. Yeah. It works with Slack, as you can see. You can push your pulses to Slack. We use Google in Algorithm, so it doesn't work for us, but let's pretend. And you can have daily, weekly, monthly.
I think if you've got Slack, I think it's the most powerful part about it because you're referring to the natural language query, but it just turns up in the channel. What does that mean?
Yeah, you'll be able to ask questions in Slack itself. Yeah. So as I said, at some point we'll be able to type question ourselves. It's probably too hard to do. These some numbers look better. So at this stage, there's only pre-canned questions, but at some point you'll be able to integrate the AI yourself for the data, which I think will be pretty good.
So does the Pulse update when the data refresh? So if I was to perhaps directly trigger a data refresh, that would trigger a Pulse refresh?
Yeah. On the real thing, we've got live data sets. They refresh. And that's all value of using Pulse is you refresh your data set, Pulse refreshes at the same time. So yeah, it's all live. Yeah. Yeah. It's new. Marco will do it. He's why. See, that's in there. It's called advanced definition.
It sounds like it's another thing that the development will have to set up for a bunch of user qualities. Seem to be marked today. And how everyone can do anything in reality still probably needs someone to provide it.
So in parts itself, you can, using that interface, which looks like pretty much like Tableau, you can create your own calculations. But that said, you might want to have those in the data set anyway. But there's a feature to be able to do it. Cool. Any more questions? I thought I just shared. I think it's pretty cool software. You'll probably hear from Tableau a lot about it for Tableau customers, especially Tableau cloud customers. But I think it's there's value. I think there's potential. I'm quite excited.